I'm Robert Whitaker, 72, widower, retired history teacher, and right now, I'm the man whose entire life just cracked open like an old book that was never meant to be read. It started this morning. I finally went up to the attic. Been avoiding it since Anna died 5 years ago. The real estate agent kept pushing, downsize before your health forces you. With my heart acting up lately, I figured maybe sorting her things would bring some peace. Wrong. I opened the box she labeled Keepsakes, 1970s, in her perfect handwriting. Wedding invites, Michael's first report card with the gold star. Then a small leather journal I'd never seen. Cracked cover. Looked handled in secret for years. First entry, June 15th, 1978. My dearest Robert will never know the truth about that night at the company picnic. Moonlight, wine, Jack's arms. I forgot every vow. Now the baby's coming. I pray Michael looks enough like you so no one asks questions. My knees buckled. I sat on an old trunk. Kept reading. Stolen afternoons at the lake cabin. Promises it would end after the baby. Guilt that never stopped her. Relief when everyone, me included, said, Michael has Jack's smile, doesn't he? Like uncle, like nephew. I whispered into the empty attic, voice breaking. Anna, how? We swore forever in that church. I worked double shifts so you could stay home with him. Held you through every fever, every nightmare. And you let me raise another man's son? Looked me in the eyes for decades and said nothing? No answer. Just my heartbeat pounding. Then the landline rang, that old rotary we never disconnected. I stumbled downstairs, picked up on the 6th ring. Mr. Whitaker, Harlan Whitaker here, no relation. Attorney for Jack Reynolds' estate. He passed last week in Florida. Deathbed confession. Documents naming you in a substantial bequest. There's a third party. We need to meet soon. This is explosive. I gripped the phone. Explosive? You have no idea. If this touches my wife or my boy, yeah, I'll come. Tell me when and where, because right now everything I lived feels like one long, beautiful, terrible lie. Hung up. Stared at the family photo on the wall. Michael at 12, grinning, eyes suddenly screaming Jack instead of me. 3 sharp knocks at the door. I opened it. Rain-soaked woman, mid-40s, dark hair plastered, clutching a worn envelope. She looked straight at me. Mr. Whitaker, I'm Sarah Reynolds. Jack was my father. He left me a letter before he died. Said you're the grandfather I never knew. Because Michael wasn't just your son. He was my half-brother. And the truth waited 45 years to walk through this door. I stood frozen, journal burning in my pocket, lawyer's words ringing. Now this woman, Jack's daughter, calling me grandfather, everything I knew about love, family, loyalty, shattered in one afternoon. My chest tightened the way it does before a bad spell. Doctor warned, stress could finish me. But I couldn't close the door, because while there's still time, some debts have to be paid, even if they break you. I let Sarah in. Couldn't turn her away, not after she called me grandfather. She stood dripping in the hallway, hazel eyes so much like Michael's it hurt, handed me the envelope like it might explode. Inside, Jack's notarized letter, shaky handwriting, dated 3 days before he died. Robert, if you're reading this, I'm gone. The truth is free. Michael was my son. Anna and I, it started as weakness, became something we couldn't kill. I paid every month for his treatments when the cancer came and after he was gone. Anna promised you'd never know. I promised the same. We both lied. Now Sarah knows. She has questions only you can answer. There's money, $500,000 in a trust, for you, for her, for whatever family we broke. Forgive me if you can. I never forgave myself. $500,000. Blood money wrapped in guilt. My hand shook so hard the paper rattled. Sarah watched me. Quiet. Too quiet. You knew? I asked, voice raw. Only after he died. Found the letter in his safe. Photos, too. You holding Michael as a baby, my mom, not Anna, crying in one picture. She knew about the affair. Stayed anyway. Said Dad was worth it. I didn't believe her till I read this. I sank into the recliner, the same one Michael used to curl up in during chemo days, too weak to sit anywhere else. So what now? I said. You want the money? The house? My memories? I want to know who my brother really was, the one I never met, and why Dad spent his life hiding from you. Before I could answer, the phone buzzed. Harlan again. Mr. Whitaker, we have trouble. Another claimant surfaced. Lauren Pierce, 42, claims to be Jack's biological daughter from a later relationship. Says the trust is invalid because Jack was coerced into naming you. She's filed an injunction. Probate frozen until we sort it. Another daughter. Another secret from Jack. Sarah's face went pale. That's my half-sister? He never told me. I laughed, bitter, broken. Welcome to the club. Next morning I drove to Harlan's office, 2 hours each way, chest tight the whole trip. Popped nitroglycerin twice. Harlan looked tired behind his desk. Sit. This is messier than I thought. He slid a folder over. Bank statements, old emails, a paternity test Jack had done privately in 2005 when Michael was sick. 99.9% match. Jack knew. Kept paying for treatments anyway. But Lauren, born 1984. Jack's affair after things with Anna ended. Her mother swore Jack promised to leave his family. He didn't. Paid her off instead. Now Lauren wants everything. Says Jack's deathbed letter was undue influence because he was dying and scared. She's got a Miami lawyer, Harlan said. Aggressive, digging into your marriage, looking for anything to prove Anna coerced Jack into the payments, or that you knew and blackmailed him. I didn't know, I said. Until yesterday. I believe you, but the court might not. And Sarah's name, too. If Lauren wins, you both get nothing. The trust dissolves. I drove home numb, pulled into the driveway, Sarah's rental car still there. She hadn't left. She met me at the door. I'm not going anywhere, not till we figure this out. He was my dad. Michael was my brother. You're the only piece that still makes sense. I looked at her, really looked. Michael's jawline, Anna's quiet strength, and something new, hope. But hope hurts when everything's fallen apart. That night, I couldn't sleep. Kept replaying Anna's last weeks. Hospice bed in the living room. She held my hand, whispered, "Promise me you'll forgive whatever you find after I'm gone." I thought she meant old bills, letters from her sister. Now I knew. She was begging forgiveness for the biggest secret of all. At 2:17 a.m. the phone lit up. Unknown number, voicemail, Lauren's voice, cold, certain. Mr. Whitaker, I know what you did. You think you're the victim? My mother told me everything. Jack said you threatened to ruin him if he didn't keep paying. Said you'd tell his company, his wife, my mom, everything. That's why he wrote that letter. Guilt and fear of you. I have proof. Old emails, recordings. You're not getting a cent. And neither is Sarah. See you in court. I sat up in the dark, heart racing like it wanted out. Proof? I never threatened anyone. But Jack was a liar. Anna was a liar. What if the biggest liar was me? What if I'd suspected something all those years and buried it so deep I convinced myself it wasn't there? The room spun. I reached for the phone to call Sarah, but before I could dial, another text came. Unknown number, one photo, me, Anna, Jack, 1979 company Christmas party. Anna between us, her hand on my back, her other hand resting on Jack's thigh under the table. Red text across the bottom, "You really never saw?" I dropped the phone like it burned. Because while there's still time, some truths don't just break your heart. They make you question whether you ever had one worth breaking. I couldn't sleep. That 1979 Christmas party photo, Anna's hand on Jack's thigh under the table, kept replaying like a loop I couldn't stop. Sarah found me at dawn in the kitchen. Dad mentioned a safety deposit box in his letter, said only you should open it. We drove to the old bank downtown, box 472. Heavy when I pulled it out. Inside, 20 grand cash. A sealed letter from Anna, written 2 weeks before she died. A single photo from 1985. Anna, Jack, and little Michael in a park. Jack holding Michael's hand like any father would. Anna's words hit hard. "Robert, my love, if you're reading this, I'm gone and the secret's caught up. I'm so sorry for the affair with Jack. It lasted years. Michael was his son. I never lied to Jack about that. He knew from the beginning. That's why he sent money every month, especially when the cancer came. He paid for treatments, for doctors, for anything Michael needed, and after we lost him, he kept sending, out of guilt, out of love he couldn't show openly. I never told you, because I couldn't bear to lose you. The photo is from the last time we met, 1985. After that, it ended forever. Now his daughter Lauren is coming for the trust money. She's Jack's child from his second marriage. She doesn't know Michael existed. She's sick, the same cancer that took our boy. Stage 4. She deserves to know she had a brother. Tell her gently, forgive me if you can. After the affair ended, I chose you every single day. I stared at the photo, Michael's small hand in Jack's face full of quiet pride. Sarah whispered, so Michael really was Dad's son, and Lauren is my half-sister. Before I could speak, my phone rang. Unknown number. I answered. Mr. Whitaker, this is Evelyn Carter, Anna's older sister, your sister-in-law. I've stayed silent too long. Anna told me everything when she was pregnant with Michael. I begged her to tell you the truth. She couldn't. Now Lauren, Jack's daughter, is suing because she thinks the trust belongs only to her. But she's dying. Same cancer Michael fought. Months left, maybe weeks. I'm in town. Coffee shop on Main Street. 20 minutes. Come with Sarah. Let's meet Lauren together. No more court. No more secrets. Just family facing what's left of time. I looked at Sarah, tears in her eyes. We go, she said. She's my sister, and she's running out of time just like Michael did. I felt something shift inside. Not peace yet, but a spark. The kind that comes when you realize you're not carrying the pain alone anymore. Because while there's still time, we stop hiding from the truth. We start walking toward it. We walked into the coffee shop on Main Street like 4 people carrying 45 years of secrets on our shoulders. Evelyn was already there, silver hair, Anna's kind eyes looking back at me. Lauren sat across from her, pale and thin, oxygen tube under her nose, breathing shallow. When she saw us, her eyes narrowed. You're Robert Whitaker, she said, voice weak but edged with anger. The man who kept my father's money from me. Sarah tensed. Evelyn placed a gentle hand on Lauren's arm. "Sit," Evelyn said. "No one's keeping anything. We're here to tell you the truth." I pulled out a chair. My heart hammered so loud I thought everyone could hear it. I slid Anna's letter across the table. Lauren read it slowly. Her face changed. Confusion, then shock, then raw pain. Michael was my half-brother? Dad knew. All those years he paid for his cancer treatments and never once told me I had a brother? She looked up at me, tears welling. "You raised him. You watched him fight the same disease I'm fighting now. You buried him, and I never even knew he existed." I nodded. My throat was tight. I loved him like my own, because he was mine, in every way that counted. Jack loved him too in his broken way. He paid for every doctor, every hospital stay, every hope we had. But he kept you separate, maybe to protect you from the mess, maybe to protect himself from the guilt. Lauren's hands trembled on the table. "I came here to take everything from you. I had old emails, Dad writing he was afraid of what Robert might do. I thought it was blackmail, but now it reads like fear of losing you, fear you'd never forgive him." Evelyn spoke quietly. "Jack wrote those words after Michael's diagnosis worsened. He wanted to tell you everything, Robert. Wanted to meet Michael openly. But he was terrified you'd hate him, terrified Anna would lose you. So he stayed silent and kept paying until the day Michael was gone." Lauren coughed, a deep, painful sound. She wiped her mouth with a shaky hand. "I don't have time for lawyers. I don't have time for hate. I just wanted to feel like I belonged to someone, somewhere." Sarah reached across the table and took Lauren's hand. "You do belong. You're my sister, Michael's sister, and if you'll let us, you're part of this family now, whatever's left of it." Lauren looked straight at me, searching. "Can you forgive her, Anna, after she kept this from you for 45 years? I took the longest breath of my life, chest tight, but steady. Yesterday I hated her. This morning I still did. But sitting here, seeing you fight the same battle Michael fought, I see what she was so afraid of losing. Us, our little family. She chose the wrong way to protect it. But after the affair ended, she chose me every day. And I choose to forgive her now, because hate takes time I don't have left, and forgiveness maybe gives us a little more time together." Lauren closed her eyes. Tears slipped down her cheeks. "Then I dropped the lawsuit, the trust, split it for my treatments, for whatever time I have left. And maybe tell me about my brother before I go." I reached out and took her other hand. "We'll tell you everything, every time he laughed through the pain, every game we watched together when he was too weak to play. Every night I held him and promised it would be okay." The room went still, just breathing, and for the first time in days, my heart didn't feel like it was shattering. It felt like it was starting to heal. But just as we began to share the first story, my phone buzzed. Harlan. "Mr. Whitaker, urgent. Lauren's lawyer filed the injunction this morning before she could stop him. The trust is frozen for 30 days. If we don't file a response, it could all go to probate fees. You lose everything. She loses her chance at better care." Lauren's face crumpled. "I told him to withdraw it. He didn't listen." I stood up, legs shaky but holding. "Then we fight one last time, not for money, for time, for her time, for ours." Sarah nodded. Evelyn squeezed my shoulder. We walked out together, 4 broken people, 1 fragile hope, because while there's still time, we don't give up, even when everything seems lost. 30 days later, we sat in Harlan's office. Me, Sarah, Lauren, and Evelyn. The trust papers were spread out. Lauren's lawyer had finally withdrawn the injunction after she threatened to fire him. The money was divided, part for Lauren's hospice care, part for a small foundation in Michael's name to help families with childhood cancer, part for Sarah to start fresh, and a quiet portion for me, enough to fix the house or maybe just live out whatever years I have left without worry. Lauren looked weaker every day, but her eyes were brighter than that first meeting. She'd moved into a guest room at my house. We talked every evening. Stories about Michael, how he'd sneak cookies from the jar when Anna wasn't looking, how he'd throw a baseball so hard it cracked the garage door, how in the last weeks he'd hold my hand and whisper, "Dad, it's okay. I'm not scared." She cried a lot. So did I. But the tears felt different now, cleansing, not destructive. One night, Lauren asked me, "Do you ever regret forgiving her, Anna?" I thought for a long time. No, regret would mean wishing I'd stayed angry, and anger would have stolen the time I had left with her, with Michael, and now, with you and Sarah. We don't get to choose the past, but we get to choose what we do with the time that's left. She smiled, small, tired, but real. "I'm glad I found you, even if it took 45 years, even if I only have a few months." Sarah squeezed her hand. "We're glad, too. You're not alone anymore." Evelyn watched us quietly. She'd become the glue, the one who remembered Anna as a young girl full of dreams and fears before life got complicated. She told us stories I'd never heard. Anna's first love letter to Paul, how she cried for weeks after Vietnam took him, how she met me and decided to build something safe and steady. The day Lauren's breathing grew too shallow for words, we gathered around her bed. She held my hand, Sarah's, Evelyn's. She looked at us and whispered, "Tell Michael I'm coming soon, and tell him, thank you for being the brother I never knew I had." She closed her eyes. The room filled with soft sobs. No dramatic last words, just quiet peace. After the funeral, small, private, under the same oak tree where Michael's ashes were scattered, Sarah and I walked back to the house. Evelyn stayed a few more days, then left with a promise to visit. I stood on the porch alone that evening, looked at the old family photo on the wall inside, now with a new snapshot tucked in the corner. Lauren, smiling between Sarah and me, taken just weeks before she left us. I spoke aloud to the empty air, voice steady for the first time in months. "Anna, I forgave you, not because it was easy, because it was the only way to keep loving what we had, and what we still have." The wind answered softly through the trees. I went inside, turned off the lights, and sat in Michael's old recliner. My heart beat slow but strong. There's still time. Not much, but enough to tell the stories, enough to hold the people who are left, enough to remember that love, even broken, even late, is the only thing that outlasts us. And while there is still time, we keep choosing it.